भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयन्ति। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, chapter 4, the process of creation, text number 7 onwards. So Parikshit Maharaj is asking these questions to Sukadeva Goswami. Yatha gopaiti vibhur yatha sanyachate punah yam yam shaktim pashitya purushakti parampaman atmanam kridan karoti vikaroti cha. Kindly describe how the Supreme Lord, who is all-powerful, engages his different energies and different expansions in maintaining and again winding up the phenomenal world in the sporting spirit of a player. So this practically takes care of all of Krishna's pastimes. See, kindly describe how Supreme Lord, who is all-powerful, engages his different energies and different expansions, means his different expansions or incarnations in maintaining and again winding up the phenomenal world in the sporting spirit of a player. Means he's not attached, he's just playing around, he's just uh, using his energies to do all these activities. In the Katha Upanishad, the Supreme Lord is described as the chief eternal being amongst all of the eternal living beings, individual beings, and the one Supreme Lord who maintains innumerable living beings. So all living entities, both in the conditioned state and in the liberated state, are maintained by the Almighty Supreme Lord. Such maintenance is affected by the Lord through his different expansions of self and three principal energies, namely the internal, external, and marginal energies. The living entities are his marginal energies, and some of them, in the confidence of the Lord, are interested with the work of creation also, as are Brahma, Marichi, etc. And the acts of creation are inspired by the Lord unto them. Tene Brahma Hirda. So this we will see later on when Brahmaji will explain. Narad Muni actually asks him how he does the creation, and Brahmaji explains to him that actually the creation is done by Krishna himself. I just help him here and there. So in this chapter, if you look at the title, it's called the process of creation. So real creation is done by Krishna. So that's why Brahmaji is considered as secondary creator. He does after Krishna does the creation. The external energy Maya is also impregnated with the jivas or conditioned souls. The unconditioned marginal potency acts in the spiritual kingdom, and the Lord, by his different plenary expansions, maintains them in different transcendental relations displayed in the spiritual sky. So the one Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests himself in many, Bahushyam, and thus all diversities are in him, and he is in all diversities, although he is nevertheless different from all of them. That is the inconceivable mystic power of the Lord, and as such, everything is simultaneously one with and different from him by his inconceivable potencies. So same thing Krishna explains in one shloka in Bhagavad Gita where he says, I am in them, I'm in all living entities, but they are not in me. I'm everywhere, but everything is not me. Something like that he explains. So of course, everything is his energy, and energy is not different from energetic. But as he himself, as Shyam Sundar Krishna, he's not in everything. His Paramatma feature is there, his Brahmjyoti is there, his energies are there, but he himself is not everywhere. Wherever his devotees are, he is there. He can expand himself. trillions of times, wherever his devotees are. But he doesn't interfere in all the working of all of his energies all the time. Text 8. Nunam bhagavato brahman hareradbhut karmana durvibhavyameva bhati kavibhishchapi cheshtitam. O learned Brahman, the transcendental activities of the Lord are all wonderful, and they appear inconceivable because even great endeavors by many learned scholars still proved insufficient for understanding them. So his activities, Krishna's activities are wonderful, but they appear inconceivable because Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya mama vijanati, only by bhakti I am to be known. I am to be known means his activities, his pastimes, his dealing with his devotees, everything about him can only be known by bhakti, not by learned scholars. The acts of the Supreme Lord in the creation of just this one universe appear inconceivably wonderful. And there are innumerable universes, and all of them aggregated together are known as a created material world. And this part of his creation is only a fractional portion of the complete creation. The material world stands as a part only, ekanksena sthito jagat. Supposing that the material world is a display of one part of his energy, the remaining three parts consist of the Vaikuntha Jagat, the spiritual world described in the Bhagavad Gita as Madhama or Sanatan Dhama or the eternal world. We have marked in the previous verse that he creates and again winds up the creation. This action is applicable only in the material world because the other greater part of his creation, namely the Vaikuntha world, is neither created nor annihilated. Otherwise, the Vaikuntha Dham would not have been called eternal. So that part is eternal. Of course, material creation is also eternal. It's not like it's just going to go away. It just manifests and unmanifests. That's all. The Lord exists with Dham, his eternal name, quality, pastimes, entourage, and personality are all a display of his different energies and expansions. The Lord is called Anadi or having no creator and Adi or the origin of all. We think in our own perfect way that the Lord is also created, but the Vedanta informs us that he is not created. Or Brahma Samhita also says, Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. But the material world, as we said earlier, of course it manifests and unmanifests. Means it is temporary. It is there, always there, but it shows up temporarily. So along with the material world, so everything in the material world is also temporary. It's not going to stay forever. So meaning that all our problems in life, or the good situations also for that matter, they're also temporary. Nothing is permanent in this world. Everything is temporary. We just have to tolerate it for a while. That's about it. Even for great scholars, they are inconceivable, and thus such scholars present theories contradictory to one another. Even for the insignificant part of his creation, this particular universe, they have no complete information as to how far this limited space extends, or how many stars and planets are there, or the different conditions of those innumerable planets. Modern scientists have insufficient knowledge of all this. Some of them assert that there are 100 million planets scattered all over space. In a news release from Moscow dated 21st February 1960, wow, Prabhupada somehow quoted that in his Srimad Bhagavatam purport. The following piece of knowledge was relayed. Russia's well-known professor of astronomy, Boris Vorontsov Veliaminov, said that there must be an infinite number of planets in the universe inhabited by beings endowed with reason. So in 1960, this professor says all the planets in the universe, they have life. It could be that life similar to that on Earth flourishes on such planets. Direct Doctor of Chemistry Nikolai Zirov, covering the problem of atmosphere on the other planets, pointed out that the organism of a Martian, for instance, could very well adapt itself to normal existence with a low body temperature. He said that he felt that the gaseous composition of Martian atmosphere was quite suitable to sustain life of beings which have become adapted to it. This adaptability of an organism to different varieties of planets is described in Brahma Samhita as Vibhuti Bhinnam. That is, each and every one of the innumerable planets within the universe is endowed with a particular type of atmosphere. And the living beings there are more perfectly advanced in science and psychology because of a better atmosphere. Vibhuti means specific powers and Bhinnam means variegated. Scientists were attempting to explore outer space and are trying to reach other planets by mechanical arrangements. Must know for certain that organisms adapted to the atmosphere of Earth cannot exist in the atmosphere of other planets. This is what Prabhupada has written in his book, Easy Journey to Other Planets. One has to prepare himself, therefore, to be transferred to a different planet after being relieved of the present body. So scientists on their own, by their own, in 19 saying other planets also have life, but they don't know what kind of life is there. They cannot understand all this. They say they must have adapted themselves to that atmosphere. So adapted means they must be from some other atmosphere and they somehow they move to say Mars or other planets and they changed their nature. It's not like that. Like Prabhupada is quoting Bhagavad Gita, Yanti Devavrita Devan Pitrim Yanti Pitrikrita. Yanti, those who worship demigods will take birth amongst the demigods. So the soul gets transferred from one planet to another. According to the karma, according to consciousness, according to desire. And then when he takes birth in the body suitable for atmosphere of that particular planet, he lives according to that planet. That's all. Just like on Earth, we see so many creatures underwater, fishes and so many different creatures are living underwater in the ocean. We cannot live underwater. But that doesn't mean they're not living. Their body is according to that atmosphere. And they can live, fishes can live easily and happily underwater for whatever their lifespan is. They cannot live on Earth, we cannot live underwater. Our bodies are different. So similarly, on say Sun planet, the atmosphere is different. So the body is different. On Moon, body is different. On Mars, body is different because the atmosphere is different. But nevertheless, all the bodies, like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, are made of 8 separated energies: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. That's it. It's just different permutation combination of these elements constitute different bodies on in different atmosphere. Maharaj Parikshit's statement regarding the workings of the creative energy of the Lord discloses that he knew everything of the process of creation. Why then he did ask Sukadeva Goswami for such information? Maharaj Parikshit, being a great emperor, a descendant of the Pandavas, and a great devotee of Lord Krishna, was quite able to know considerably about the creation of the world. But that much knowledge was not sufficient. He said, therefore, that even greatly learned scholars fail to know about that, even after great effort. The Lord is unlimited, and his activities are also unfair. With a limited source of knowledge and with imperfect senses, any living being, up to the standard of Brahmaji, the highest perfect living being within the universe, can never imagine knowing about the unlimited. We can know something of the unlimited when it is explained by the unlimited, as has been done by the Lord himself in the unique statements of the Bhagavad Gita. And it can also be known to some extent from realized souls like Sukadeva Goswami, who learned it from Vyasadeva, a disciple of Narada, and thus the perfect knowledge can descend by the chain of disciplic succession only, and not by any form of experimental knowledge, old or modern. So this knowledge, especially the spiritual science or perfect knowledge, can only be understood when it comes down in the chain of disciplic succession. Means we cannot speculate and think that we have figured everything out. We can't do that because this knowledge is so vast. So, like Prabhupada said, it's like unlimited knowledge. How can we know? The Lord is unlimited and his activities are also unfair. With a limited source of knowledge and with imperfect senses, every living being up to the standard of Brahmaji can never imagine knowing about the unlimited. Even Brahmaji cannot know. Later on, we will study how Brahmaji himself uh, went down to the bottom of the lotus, the stem of lotus flower, and then he couldn't figure out where is he, what is he doing, what he supposed to do. So he came back up and sat down on the lotus flower, thinking now what to do. I don't know anything. So then Krishna gave him his mercy. Text 9. यथा गुणांस्तु प्रकृतेर युगपत् क्रमशो अपि वा विवर्ति भूरि शस्त्वकं त्वेकः कुर्वन् कर्माणि जन्मभिः. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is one, whether he alone acts with the modes of material nature or simultaneously expands in many forms or expands consecutively to direct the modes of nature. Vichikitsit me tan me bravitu bhagwan yatha shabde brahmani nishnataha parasminch bhavan khalu. Kindly clear up all these doubtful inquiries, because you are not only vastly learned in the Vedic literatures and self-reliance and transcendence, but also a great devotee of Lord, and are therefore as good as the personality of God. So the point is not just knowledge in Vedic literature is important. One has to be a devotee of the Lord also. Then also he can get the realizations, the mercy of Krishna, and then he can put forth the knowledge that he has received. In Brahm Samhita, it is said that the supreme absolute truth, Govinda, the personality of Godhead, although one without his second, is infallibly expanded by innumerable forms, non-different from one another. And although he is the original person, he is still ever young with permanent youthful energy. He is very difficult to know simply by learning the transcendental science of the Vedas, but is very easily realized by his pure devotees. So only by bhakti, only by bhaktas, he can be known. The expansions of different forms of the Lord, as from Krishna to Baladev to Sankarshan, from Sankarshan to Vasudev, from Vasudev to Anirudh, from Anirudh to Pradyumna, and then again to second Sankarshan, and from him to the Narayan Purushavtaras, and innumerable other forms which are compared to the constant flowing of the uncountable waves of a river, are all one and the same. So all these expansions are one and the same, means they're all in Vishnu Tattva category, Vishnu category. They are like lamps of equal power which kindle from one lamp to another. That is a transcendental potency of the Lord. The Vedas say that He is so complete that even though the whole complete identity emanates from Him, He still remains the same complete whole. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavshishya. So in Ishopanishad, invocation, it is said, the whole complete means Krishna's expansion is Balramji. So Krishna and Balramji, they exist, they are there simultaneously. And there is hardly any difference between them. There is very little difference because Balramji is expansion of Krishna. So it's like from one Krishna, we have taken out the whole one, and still that one remains, and the other one also remains. And from Balramji, the expansion is of Sankarshan. Then from Sankarshan, Anirudh, Pradyumna. From Pradyumna, Vasudeva. They're different expansions, but they all are same potency, have the same potency. This is spiritual mathematics. As such, there is no validity in a material conception of the Lord produced by the mental speculator. Thus, he remains always a mystery for the mundane scholar. Even if he is vastly learned in the Vedic literatures, Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhakta. This is what people who are not devotees, they get bewildered. How is it possible? Just like Krishna, when, of course, in his Brahmjyoti or in his Paramatma feature, he is everywhere. But as Krishna also, he can be everywhere. There cannot be any condition on him that he cannot be. He doesn't present himself as everywhere. Only with his devotees, he is everywhere. But people cannot understand how he can do that. Just like in Dwarka, he was with all his queens, 16,108 queens at the same time, with all of them. In Raslila, there are billions and billions of gopis, and he is with each and every of the gopis. He expands himself. So it's not difficult for devotees. They say, yeah, he can do. What's the big deal? But those who are trying to understand him through their knowledge or limited knowledge, they get bewildered. How is it possible? And that's when they say, oh, he cannot be a person. It has to be impersonal. It has to be Jyoti only who can do that. No. Krishna can easily do that. Easily. What's the big deal? Therefore, the Lord is beyond the limit of conception for mundane learned scholars, philosophers, or scientists. He is easily understandable for the pure devotee because the Lord declares in Bhagavad Gita that after surpassing the stage of knowledge, when one is able to be engaged in the devotion service of the Lord, then only can one know the supreme nature of the Lord. One cannot have any clear conception of the Lord or his holy name, form, attributes, pastimes, etc., unless one is engaged in his transcendental loving service. The statement of the Bhagavad Gita that one must first of all surrender unto the Lord, being freed from all other engagements, means that one must become a pure, unconditional devotee of the Lord. Only then one can know him by the strength of his devotion service. Maharaj Parikshit admitted in the previous verse that the Lord is inconceivable even for the greatest learned scholars. Why then he again requests Sukadeva Goswami to clarify his insufficient knowledge about the Lord? The reason is clear. Not only was Sukadeva Goswami vastly learned in the Vedic literatures, but he was also a great self-realized soul and a powerful devotee of the Lord. A powerful devotee of the Lord is, by the grace of the Lord, more than the Lord himself. Very nice line, Prabhupada. Powerful devotee of the Lord, by the grace of the Lord, is more than the Lord himself. Because Lord gives him the mercy. Prabhupada gives the example. Personality of Godhead, Sri Ramchandra, attempted to bridge the Indian Ocean to reach the island of Lanka. But Sri Hanumanji, the unalloyed devotee of the personality of Godhead, could cross the ocean simply by jumping over it. So Hanumanji jumped over it and crossed, and Ram had to build the bridge to go over the ocean. Of course, Hanumanji says, I have my power because of Ram only. The conclusion is therefore that a serious devotee must first approach a spiritual master who not only is well versed in the Vedic literatures, but is also a great devotee with factual realization of the Lord and his different energies. Without the help of such a devotee spiritual master, one cannot make progress in the transcendental science of the Lord. And a bona fide spiritual master like Sukadeva Goswami does not speak about the Lord only in the matter of his internal potencies, but also explains how he associates with his external potencies. So Sukadeva Goswami, he knew everything about external potency means Maya energy and internal potency means Yoga Maya. He knew everything and he will explain everything to Parikshit Maharaj. So I'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments? Chalo. So we'll stop here. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.